ABC Kinderteach presents Lily's Big Day, written by Kevin Henkes. One day, Lily's teacher, Mr. Slinger, announced to the class that he was going to marry Ms. Shotwell, the school nurse. Lily's heart leaped. She had always wanted to be a flower girl. "It will be the biggest day of my life," said Mr. Slinger. "Mine too," whispered Lily. She says, hooray, because she thinks she's going to be a flower girl, but Mr. Slinger never asked her. At home in her room, Lily practiced being a flower girl. First she changed into something more appropriate. Then she held her head high and smiled brightly and raised her eyebrows and turned her head from side to side and carried her hands proudly in front of her and hummed, "Here comes the bride," and walked the length of her room very, very slowly, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. "It will be the biggest day of my life," said Lily. So she's practicing carrying flowers for a wedding. "Who are you pretending to be tonight?" asked Lily's mother at dinner. "I'm not pretending," said Lily. "I'm a flower girl." "Who's getting married?" asked her father. "Mr. Slinger," said Lily. "Really?" said her mother. "Really?" said her father. "Really," said Lily. "He's going to marry Miss Shotwell. He told us today, and I'm going to be the flower girl." "You are?" said her father. "Did Mr. Slinger ask you?" said her mother. "Not yet," said Lily. So she thinks Mr. Slinger's going to ask her to be the flower girl, but there's lots of other people in the class. At bedtime, Lily's mother said, "Lily, there are so many students in your class." "That's what we just said." "Mr. Slinger couldn't possibly pick just one to be a flower girl." Her father said, "It wouldn't be fair." "He probably has a niece," said her mother. "Maybe Aunt Mona will get married someday," said her father. So the father's saying, you could maybe be Aunt Mona's flower girl, but not probably Mr. Slinger's. "Do you understand what we're trying to say?" asked her mother. Lily nodded. I'm not so sure she understands. "Are you sure?" asked her father. Lily nodded again. After her parents left her room, Lily said, "I understand that I'm going to be a flower girl." Oh, she didn't understand that she's not. She still thinks she is. The next day at school during sharing time, Lily said, "I've always wanted to be a flower girl, even more than a surgeon or a diva, a famous female singer, or a hairdresser." The following afternoon, when Mr. Slinger had recess duty, Lily picked a handful of weeds at the edge of the playground. She carried the weeds proudly in front of her and walked very, very slowly past Mr. Slinger until the bell rang. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So she is trying to let Mr. Slinger know that she would be an excellent flower girl. I don't know if he's going to pick her, though. And the morning after that, Lily went to the light bulb lab in the back of the classroom. She drew a self-portrait. "Me, Lily, the world's best and most famous flower girl. Smart, beautiful, better than the bride, #1. This is the best drawing I've ever done in my entire complete life." So she's drawing a picture to help Mr. Slinger know that she wants to be the flower girl. Mr. Slinger called Lily up to his desk during quiet reading time. "Lily," he said, "I can tell that you want to be a flower girl, but unfortunately my niece, Ginger, is going to be the flower girl at my wedding." Lily's heart sank. She felt very sad. "But," said Mr. Slinger, I also want you to know that everyone in the class will be invited to the wedding. We can all dance together at the reception. It'll be fun." Lily's stomach hurt. "This seems really important to you," said Mr. Slinger. Lily's cheeks turned pink. "You know," said Mr. Slinger, "I was just thinking that you might like to be Ginger's assistant. You could stand with her and keep her company until she has to walk down the aisle. You could make sure her dress isn't crooked and that she holds her flowers properly." Lily considered this. "You could remind her to walk slowly," said Mr. Slinger. Lily considered some more. "You could wear a corsage, some flowers," said Mr. Slinger.
"Oh, all right," said Lily, "if you really need me so much."
Lily tried to get excited about being Ginger's assistant. "Flower girl advice, $1. Now, don't forget to pay."
"Weddings wouldn't even exist without flower girl assistants," she told her baby brother Julius. "You're not listening." "I have a special responsibility," she told her parents. When her Grammy took her shopping for a new dress for the wedding, Lily told the clerk, "A flower girl assistant is very important and glamorous," being pretty in an exciting way. "She's so adorable, in small doses." But when it really sank in that she would not be walking down the aisle carrying a bouquet, something that looks like this, with everyone watching, Lily pretended that her teddy bear was Mr. Slinger. She made him sit in the uncooperative chair. "You can just stay there forever," she said. As the wedding drew near, Mr. Slinger counted down the days on the chalkboard. "One day closer to the biggest day of my life," he would say. "One day closer to the biggest day of Ginger's life," Lily would whisper. "I'm never getting married." And still, at home in her room, Lily practiced. She held her head high and smiled brightly and raised her eyebrows and turned her head from side to side and carried her hands proudly in front of her and hummed, "Here Comes the Bride," and walked the length of her room very, very slowly, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So she's still practicing, and she's upset, but she seems to be a little bit happier after she practices. The day of the wedding finally arrived. Lily hoped and hoped that Ginger would have pink eye, a sickness in which the white part of your eye gets very red, or a bad fever and not show up. But she was there, and she was all ready. Her dress was straight, and she held her flowers properly, like you're supposed to. "This is my niece." Oh boy, Lily does not look happy. "Are you sure you want to do this?" said Lily.
"Yes," said Ginger.
"Are you sure you're sure?"
"Yes."
"Are you really sure you're sure?"
Lily hoped and hoped that Ginger would change her mind, but she didn't. She's so happy about being the flower girl, and Lily is not happy at all. It was time for the ceremony to begin. A ceremony is something that you do in front of other people. The music swelled, played louder. Everyone stood. The moment came for Ginger to walk down the aisle. Ginger didn't move. She looked scared, and Lily's pretty happy. Mr. Slinger motioned her forward. Wait for her to come. "Go," said Lily. Ginger was frozen. "Now," said Lily. Ginger was as still as a stone. "You can do it," said Lily, but Ginger couldn't. Everyone waited and waited and waited. No one knew what to do except Lily. Looks like Mr. Slinger is really nervous about what's happening, but Lily knows what to do. What's she going to do? Oh, she's going to take the flowers? Maybe take Ginger down the aisle? Let's see.
Lily scooped up Ginger and said, "Here we go." Then Lily walked very, very slowly down the aisle. She held her head high and smiled brightly and raised her eyebrows and turned her head from side to side and carried Ginger proudly in front of her. Well, actually, that is a pretty good idea that Lily had. When she reached Mr. Slinger, everyone clapped. "I knew this would be the biggest day of my life," said Lily, and Mr. Slinger was really nervous because of what was happening, but he seems to feel better now. And look at Ginger is giving him the flowers. Lily was so excited she barely noticed the rest of the ceremony. And it looks like Ginger's still trying to give the flowers away. And it looks like this person is telling Lily to shush because she's making a scene. The reception was great fun. After the cake was served, Lily coached, helped her practice Ginger for the next time she would be a flower girl. "I won't be with you at every wedding," said Lily. "I won't be able to save you every time." Together they walked back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, very, very slowly. Keep watching, keep watching. Soon they were dancing. And soon after that they were joined by Chester, Wilson, Victor, Julius, Mr. Slinger, Ms. Shotwell, and many others. "It's interpretive dance," said Mr. Slinger. "We're doing the flower girl," said Lily. Lily's family stayed at the reception until Lily was perfectly exhausted. "But there's something I have to do before we go," said Lily. She needed to find Ginger one last time. I wonder what she's going to tell Ginger. And when she did, she said, "Ginger, when I get married, you can be my flower girl." But when Lily gets old enough to be married, Ginger is going to be pretty old too and probably too old to be a flower girl.